Before I upload this video, I just want to let you guys know that I do have a second channel, and I've actually provided an insane amount of value on this channel already in only 4 videos. Now, this is the channel where I post shorts, okay? So if you were interested in my shorts, that's like a short channel. But what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start doing an interview, at least one per week, okay? I'm going to do one every couple days if I can. I need people to volunteer to get in calls with me, preferably showing their face. And I'll do calls with them and do interviews with them. So if you're interested, just hit me up on Discord, but I need to see proof of like some really good thing you've done. Maybe you got like 10K payouts, maybe you've gotten 5 different payouts using iFVGs, and you must use my strategy and my model. The first interview was super cool. Like, this guy literally doubled the account. I talked to him like about his journey, what are you struggling with? Like, he lost like 3 days in a row one day, and I'm like, what do you do? Like, how do you react to that? And, you know, these people all had different journeys and how they find me and how they kind of make their iFVGs and how they trade iFVGs to be profitable. You know, they talk about revenge trading, they talk about all this stuff. So if you're interested in this, go drop a subscription, and I make sure to turn on the notification bell. A lot of you guys don't have the notification bell on. So when you subscribe, you'll get like a notification to upload the video. A lot of people, they always ask me like, oh, where do you upload this video? And I go YouTube, and they're subscribed, but they don't have notifications on. They just don't get the video notification. So check this channel out. I already have like 5 other videos ready to post right now, so by the time this is uploaded, there should be more, but they're all going to be interviews. And if you're interested in getting interviewed and you have success and you can show me, just DM me on Discord. The number one reason people blow their accounts, even though they're using such a high win rate strategy, just like using my FVG setups, is because they get into this negative feedback loop after taking a loss. They don't understand how to handle loss, and then they just go revenge trade, blow their account. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys what I do if I personally take a loss, and how it saved me from blowing money accounts, and how I've gotten multiple payouts on multiple different prop firms. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So the 3 questions that you really want to ask yourself is, was it a good setup, and what was the rating of it? Was it A+, A, B, C? Okay. Do you regret taking it? And the third question, what can I do better next time? Now, why are these important to understand? And why should this take you more than 5 minutes to fill out after taking a loss? Well, if you take a loss, you need to think about it, right? You can't just take a loss and automatically jump in looking for the next setup. You need to think about it. And what I recommend doing is I recommend asking these 3 questions. And something you could do is you could have like a Google Doc or Google Excel, and every setup you take, you could write down these questions and answer them. And it should take you 5 or more minutes to answer, so that helps you clear your mind after you take that loss. So for example, okay, there was a setup that I took a loss on Monday, or maybe it was Thursday. It was right here. I took a loss in this setup. It was a 1 setup for life. We inversed both these fair value gaps. I got in. I didn't go to break even when I was supposed to, so that's partly my fault. And I ended up being green in the position. You know, I got in on this close, and I ended up stopping out on this red candle here. Okay, so that was a setup that I took. And instead of being like, okay, I'm getting in, I'm averaging down, I'm revenge trading, you know, I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, was this a good setup? And I'm like, hell yeah, it was. You know, I was going for the drawn liquidity, these dead highs. And I'm like thinking, I'm like, okay, it was a really good setup. I don't regret taking it all. I don't regret not going to break even. And I'm kind of thinking all this in my mind. And it allowed me to understand that it's a good setup. I still have conviction in these highs. And I actually ended up taking a winning trade after right here, because I was able to reflect on my trade and understand, like, okay, even though it was a loss, I'd still take it a 10 out of 10 times. I still have the same conviction in the drawn liquidity, and I still am going to look for a target to it. And we got this setup, which I took, and then we got this setup, which I took as well, but this one I did stop out of break even on. I learned from my first mistake, and I stopped at break even when we kind of went up here, because I'm like, okay, the market's going to either do 2 things. It's going to dump and I'll be wrong, or you're going to chop around. And I didn't want to sit in either, so I just got stopped break even. But this setup actually was a win. So after reflecting, like, I didn't want to average down. I reflected. I understood that it was a good setup, and it kind of helps you handle your emotions a little bit, because with iFVGs, it's really easy to jump in and revenge trade and short when you get stopped out on iFVG. So for example, someone could get mad and be like, they could get stopped out of the long here. and they're full porting short off this red candle. They're like, oh, I'm going to hold to wait on here. And then we just reverse again. But if you take the time and understand, like, okay, is this a good setup? Yes, I would give this an A setup. I still have the same conviction. Then you're going to keep looking for the same setup and you might get a win later. Now, let's say you take like a bad setup and you generally, like, it's just a bad setup. You don't know why you took it, right? So let's say you took, let me see if I can find a bad setup real quick. Okay, let's say you took this setup here. All right, you see a fair value gap here, you short it. You short the inverse here, and let's say I were to take this setup right now, okay? When I take the loss here, okay, I'm going to ask myself those same three questions. Was this a good setup? Honestly, no, this isn't a good setup. If I took this, I'd be mad at myself. I would regret taking it. The fair value gap is not obvious. I'm going against the drawn liquidity, which is these data highs, which we know is a very strong magnet. And honestly, like, the third question, what can I do better next time, is, don't take a fair value gap that's this small. Don't short this low, And what's that's gonna cause me to do is I'm not gonna revenge trade. I'm not gonna look to keep shorting, right? And I know it's a bad setup. So if I'm asking myself those questions and I figure out the answer in live time, like, okay, I regret taking this, I don't think this is a good setup, etc. Like, if I'm asking myself, I'm not going to revenge trade. And you should have a reflection form somewhere. Like, start a Google Doc and exit out your chart, open the Google Doc, and write everything down you kind of took note of that setup. Because it's going to, one, cause you to stop revenge trading, and two, it's going to cause your mind to become healthier, because you're going to feel more professional. You're going to feel like someone who actually can professionally trade. Like, a gambler, someone who thinks it's a video game, they don't care about that. They're not going to do this. And their mind just going to be like super high, full of, I don't know what the scientific thing for this, but they're going to be very mad. They're going to be just like you die in a video game. They're going to be mad. They're going to want to get it back. They're going to want to revenge. If you play a game like Call of Duty and someone like keeps shooting you, you're going to want to shoot them back. It's just like, you're going to be mad, and you need to reflect. You need to reflect on if it was a good trade or not. And honestly, if you reflect and you still think it was a good trade, you might catch another trade to the same direction maybe later. Maybe it was just bad price action at the time. But if you reflect and you're all of a sudden like, oh, why did I even take that trade? It's going to prevent you from doing anything stupid after the fact and then waiting for that next light bulb setup. So those are the three main questions that I would ask myself. If you can get out of a trade, go for a walk, answer those questions, then come back to the chart, I guarantee you, if you were to do a study on if you did that versus didn't do that, I bet you your account would be in much better standing if you did take a walk and reflect. If you compare those results to if you didn't do that and you just tried jumping into trade after trade after trade, I bet you the statistics would show your account P&L is going to arguably be very, very bad, much, much worse than what it would be if you were to reflect and take a walk. One of the most profitable traders I know, what he does after any trade, whether it's a win or a loss, and this is the cool thing, because he could win and do the same thing, is he goes to take a walk. He lives in Hilton Head, so he goes, takes a walk, whatever, and it just helps you clear your mind. Going outside, he helps you clear your mind. You come back and you feel like a whole different person. You're patient, right? There's something that I think that is very important to understand in trading, and your mind gets fatigued if you look at something too long. And if you're trying to catch all these iFVGs, your mind's going to start getting fatigued. You're going to start taking a lot worse setups as you go. I don't really have a word for what that's called, but it's just mind fatigueness, where you're just going to get tired looking at setups. You're going to become impatient. You're going to be impulsive as time goes on. So if you can go take a walk, ask yourself those three questions, I think you're going to take a lot better iFVG setups if you've studied my YouTube videos enough. Now, if you don't understand why something like this is a bad setup, well, then that means you need more learning. You need to learn about my iFVGs more. Obviously, this is not a good setup because it's not big. It's not obvious. It doesn't really show that people are getting stopped out, etc. That's a whole nother issue in itself. That just means you need to watch more videos. But if you think you truly understand my model, you know the rules, you've looked at my PDF ratings guide, and you understand all that, then asking those three questions, going for a walk, are definitely going to help you. So that's going to be it for this video. Let me know if you got to the end. Come toward a walk, and don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and do not forget to use, if you're newer and you're trading, okay, I would suggest starting a prop firm account. It's code Dodgy, 80% off. Now, right now, the sales are, sometimes they don't have 80% off, sometimes they do. I'm not really sure how they're doing the sales, but go use my code. It should get you percentage off. I'm not sure what it's going to be at the time this video is uploaded, but again, they give you 50K count, and what you can do, it's basically demo count, and if you pass the test twice, you get paid real money to your bank account. And it's not like you're actually losing $2,000 if you lose $2,000. You're just losing like 40 bucks or whatever you paid for the account. So go use my code. And yeah, that's really all I got for today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.